I want to talk about the 6 best ways to ruin your weight loss journey. Because I used to be morbidly obese. I weighed 275 pounds and I struggled for years to lose the weight and I kept failing. Then I realized it was because there were things that I was doing without really knowing that was causing me to fail. Once I figured that out, I was able to fix things and lose 130 pounds and keep it off for 9 years. So throughout the years of me trying to lose weight, anytime I did any one of these things that I'm gonna talk about, I was guaranteed to fail. The first one. I was skipping meals. I thought, honestly, if I skipped meals, that I would save myself calories and it would help me lose weight. But it was counterproductive because what would really happen is, by the end of the day, after skipping meals all day, I would be so hungry, all heck would break loose. I would eat anything and everything and feel bad about it, and then that would cause me to go way off track. So to fix it, I started to have 5 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. And I spread them out 2 to 4 hours apart because that's what worked for me and, my day at the time. This really helped because what it did was it made me feel more level. I wasn't having constant crashes because I wasn't fueling myself and I was running on no food, and it helped me fuel my entire daily activities. And so that really helped me be less likely to overeat all the time, especially at night, which was my biggest problem. But because I was fueling myself, I didn't really feel the need to eat so much all the time at night. Number 2, I was over-exercising for my body. So I thought that in order to lose weight, I needed to do a very intense amount of exercise for a long period of time. The problem was, I would set a goal like this: I'm gonna jog for 30 minutes every single day. I was 275 pounds, I was skipping meals, and I was already cutting calories trying to lose weight. Add those things combined with me trying to jog for 30 minutes on top of that, and all that did was cause me to burn calories I really didn't need to burn because I was already cutting them, and it just made me super hungry. So just like the skipping meals, at the end of the day, I would be so hungry from all of those things, all heck would break loose. I would eat everything in sight, and I would end up just going, I can't do this. And I would chuck my weight loss journey out the window because I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. The other thing was what high standards I was setting for myself. I expected myself to jog for 30 minutes every single day when my weight was causing me hip, knee, and back problems, plus plantar fasciitis so bad in my left foot I could barely walk. I could barely walk and function on a daily basis by just like bending down to tie my shoe or going up and down the stairs, but I was expecting myself to jog every single day for a really long amount of time. That was basically setting myself up to fail before I even started. So I decided to do something that I physically was actually capable of at my size and for a reasonable amount of time so that I could actually sustain it and like it. Because if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna stick to it. And I know that from a lot of experience. I could barely walk, because of the plantar fasciitis, but I could do a little. So I decided to go with that. Very slow walking, and I thought 15 minutes every single day, rain or shine, get out, walk at my own pace, that could work for me. And so I did it. I needed to take a lot of breaks because my foot was pretty painful in the beginning, but I stopped every 2 to 5 minutes and I just kept going until I hit 15. And because I stayed consistent with it, eventually I was able to do the full 15 minutes without stopping. And then gradually over time, I was able to build and do more and more. And now 9 years later, I can walk, and I still do it slow and steady because that's how I can sustain it. I can walk for an hour, slow and steady, 6 days a week. But I built up to that, and I worked with where I was at physically and how fit I was at the time and my calories. And I was reasonable with it, and that's why I could stick to it. Number 3, I wasn't prepping my meals. So I'm skipping meals, I'm cutting calories, I'm trying to jog for 30 minutes, and I'm starving and I have no food prepped. Set myself up for failure because now it caused me, I'm so hungry, I go to the fridge, there's nothing there, so I ended up eating things that I really didn't want to. Then I would feel bad about it and I would eat way more, and then doing that, I would feel even more guilty. It would trigger my emotional eating, and then all heck would break loose and I would go off track for months, sometimes a year or so. So I started to prep my meals. And to set myself up for success, I made sure that they were quick and easy meals and that they were tasty. Because if I made my meal preps really complicated or like really long to prep, I wouldn't want to stick to it. So they needed to be quick and they needed to be tasty. If I didn't like what I was eating, I never stuck to it. So once I had tasty meals prepped and ready to go in the fridge, I eliminated all excuses. If I was hungry, bam, go in the fridge, go in the freezer, got a tasty meal, and that really helped me stay on track and, get the results that I was looking for. Number 4, I didn't understand the difference between healthy food and losing weight. I was under the impression that if I only ate healthy food, that I could lose weight. So I got rid of all food I thought was unhealthy and only ate clean, healthy food. But I ate as much as I wanted, and I had no idea how much I was eating, and then wondering why I wasn't losing any weight. This is where the problem was. There's only one rule when it comes to losing weight, and that is you have to be in a calorie deficit. It's calories in, calories out. You need to consume less calories than you burn. You have to eat less. When I was eating healthy foods and not paying attention, I was eating them in a calorie surplus, which means you're gonna gain weight. If I ate healthy foods in a calorie deficit, I would lose weight. But it's the same with pizza, bread, cheeseburgers, all the things that people think are bad. If I eat them in a calorie surplus, I will gain weight. But if I eat them in a calorie deficit, I'll lose weight, because it's not about what. It's not about what kind of food. It's about how much. So once I realized that, I started to pick foods that I really liked and use portion control to help me eat less so that I could get in a calorie deficit and lose the weight. And I used the serving sizes on the backs of packages to help me figure out the portion sizes. They were like a guide for me. Because I started to do that, I was including a balance of foods. I included treats, I included carbs, some healthy fats, lots of fruit, veg, lean protein. I was getting lots of nutrients. I was getting food that I liked. I didn't feel deprived, and it allowed me to stick to what I was doing and actually start getting the results. And if you want to know the exact meals and portions that I ate to lose the weight, you can buy my weight loss ebook. It's called The First 50. Code Nicole will save you 10%, and the link is down below. I also have I call it Huddle. It's actually called HTLT Steps. They have the best tasting protein powder ever, and this is Luckier Marshmallow Cereal. It's my favorite because I'm a cereal girl. I put this stuff in everything: protein ice cream, Greek yogurt, protein pudding. It's so good. And Code Nicole will save you 15% off, and the link is down below. The link is down below. And protein lowers your hunger hormone called ghrelin, so it can help you feel fuller longer. And this is like a super tasty way to bump up your protein. Number 5. This one was really big for me. I was doing distracted eating. So this was like pretty much my whole life. I never could just eat. I always had to eat and do something. Eat and read a book, watch a movie, watch TV, be on the computer. Then once cell phones came in, I'm old, so cell phones didn't exist at some point, but once they came in, scrolling on the cell phone while eating. So what that did for me is it caused me to eat really fast. And then, because I was eating fast, I wasn't paying attention to how much I was eating because I'm scrolling on the phone and eating, right? I wasn't giving my body time to even know that it was eating or that it was feeling full. So I would end up eating way more than I wanted to. And then all of a sudden I would go, whoa, I don't feel so great. I like stuffed myself. This is why. your brain actually takes about 20 minutes to signal to the stomach that it's full. So by eating so fast and eating distracted, I wasn't letting my brain have time to signal to my stomach that it had eaten or that it was full. So what I started doing was I sat down at the table and removed as many distractions as I could for all of my meals. Because when I was eating like distracted all the time, I was eating way more than I thought, and it put me in a calorie surplus every day because I was doing that. So removing all the distractions and then focusing on my food instead of anything else, enjoying what I was eating one bite at a time, chewing and taking my time so that my body would know that I was eating and it would know when it was full and had enough. That really helped and stopped me from overeating or eating kind of like on autopilot all the time. When I say like, I never do it, I always eat at the table. For the most part, I do, but sometimes Kyle and I will watch TV and have a snack, or, you know, we'll like watch a YouTube video or something. But if we're gonna do that, we have something already portioned out. So we don't eat distracted or watching TV or something when just from a bag or a bowl of, a bag or like a tub of something. We always make sure it's a portion. A prepped meal out of a meal prep container, a bowl of chips, not the bag, a bowl of popcorn. It's always measured out and portioned so that if you do get distracted, you can't keep eating because it's already portioned out. So like, it doesn't mean you can't ever watch TV or like be a human or read a book and have a snack. If you're gonna do that, have it portioned already so that you can't go on autopilot when you'll be eating air. Number 6. This is a big one and it's a tough love one. I thought that weight loss was just about food. So I thought if I could just get my diet under control, that I would lose weight and everything would be perfect. However, along with my weight, I also had emotional eating. Yes, I was 275 pounds. I needed to get in a calorie deficit, you know, by portioning out my food and eating what I liked to lose the weight. But if I wanted to keep the weight off, I had to go below the surface of diet and go to what was causing the emotional eating. Because what was happening is I was eating when I wasn't hungry because I was using the food to cope and to numb myself from dealing with stuff. And the things that I was avoiding dealing with was, some of it was trauma from childhood, and then some of it was, well, a big part of it was guilt around food. And some of the guilt came from my upbringing, how I was raised to think about food and my body. And then the rest of it came from the outside world, media, news, magazines, TV, social media, all of that stuff. I took all of it, internalized it, and then had massive guilt around food. And so anytime that, you know, I ate something that I enjoyed but was called unhealthy, I would feel so guilty and ashamed of it. It would trigger the emotional eating, and I was avoiding admitting and looking at who I really was. I liked food. I enjoyed having treats, sometimes healthy, sometimes foods that we call not healthy. I also have a massive appetite. I can out-eat anyone. Like sometimes I can out-eat Kyle, my husband, Sassaruni. And I'm always hungry. And I had to look at those things and go, people that are telling me like, how can you eat so much? Well, they're not in my body. So I needed to figure out ways to, you know, help me feel like I was getting a lot of food with low cal, high volume foods and still stay in a calorie deficit. But also I started to get therapy for the emotional eating piece. And I strongly encourage anyone struggling with emotional eating to get professional help. I did. And I worked on eating in a calorie deficit and enjoying my food while working on the underneath layers of the guilt and the childhood trauma. And those combined really helped me to be able to stick to what I was doing, let go of the guilt, be okay with being me, having my body, having a big appetite, learning how to work with it, and really enjoy what I was doing, and, you know, start dropping like the guilt and the trauma from the childhood. And that is why I was able to get the weight off and keep it off for as long as I have, because I dealt with the surface level and the deeper level. And that's truly what I believe long-term weight loss is. Yes, you can do your diet perfectly, but if you have emotional eating, you're never gonna keep it off if you don't deal with what's under the surface. And I made this video because there is so much information about weight loss out there right now. It can be misleading, overwhelming, confusing, and I was there. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And then there's this massive push for grinding and hustling and taking things to the extreme on social media. And so I think people, they look at that and they put pressure on themselves to live up to these standards that are impossible to live up to. And then they end up sabotaging themselves and they can't figure out why they can't lose weight. And so, you know, every single one of those things that I shared in the video, anytime I did them, I failed. But when I did the fixes, I was able to stick to it because I was dealing with all of it, and I was going at it from like, not what other people think that I should do to lose weight. What do I need? And I needed to like my food. I needed to do portion control. I couldn't deal with calories in the beginning because it triggered my emotional eating. I needed to walk only a little because I was only physically capable of that. And I needed to deal with the underneath. So I hope that this helps you guys. Weight loss should never be a punishment. And I always say, if you're not having fun, you're not getting it done. Because if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna stick to it. But Kyle and I do these videos, we like to do both. We like to go deeper sometimes, and we also like to show you like the tips that helped us get in the calorie deficit. Because like I said, you have to do both if you've got both. If you have emotional reasons for eating, you gotta get under there or you're not gonna be able to keep the weight off. Thanks so much for watching. We really love you. You're not alone. Kyle and I have both been there, but it's possible to heal. It's possible to love what you're doing. We did. We both lost 130 pounds and kept it off for 9 years, the friends. Watch this vid and this vid for more fun, sustainable weight loss tips, because we really are real friends losing weight in the real world. And you have to wake up and love it. But you also got to be honest with yourself, and you got to look in the mirror and do what works for you. I love you. I'll catch you in the next vid, cutie. I am out. Peace it, peace it, peace it. And I'm gonna bang on my drum all day. Bang on my drum all day. All day. Oh, in every single way. Oh, my honey. I went off the Richter scale there.
I'm cutting that last 2 minutes out.
You're gonna keep it and you love it. It's cute. Ooh, going down the escalator. No, what's this? An elevator. Coming back up. Floor 5. No, what do they call it? Floor 5? Level 5. Good night. It's my bedtime. Bye, guys.
On that note, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Remember, the friends, that weight loss isn't just about the number on the scale. It's also about here and here. Heart and mindset. Fight through it.